The entire missionary enterprise of the Jesuits with the indigenous people of North and South America is fraught with all sorts of questions and controversies about the methods that were used and in what way did they support or limit the cruelty of the colonization that was happening right alongside of what they were doing. In the annals of all of these stories, there does stand out a few Jesuits who were very conscious of the difficulties of colonization and how it was necessary in many ways to separate the indigenous people from the settlers who were colonizing the area and wanted to use them as slaves or to take advantage of them in other ways so that they could steal their lands. And Father Kino is one of those who worked in northern Sonora and southern Arizona, and in doing that he came into conflict often with either the military authorities or with the civil authorities who represented the interests of the settlers and the colonizers. As he worked with the Acamel people at that time, in one famous instance, there was a rebellion where a Jesuit was killed in Caborca, and Father Kino, saw the result of that was a military response that killed many of the indigenous people who had nothing to do with that, and it was done in a particularly traitorous way where they were invited to a certain meeting and then massacred by them. So he took it upon himself to write letters and ride all the way to Mexico City because he was afraid of what was about to take place because of what the settlers were saying and also what the military authorities were saying. And he knew that his Acamel people were really welcoming to the missionaries, but it was very important that they were treated justly and that the cause of the rebellion, the immediate spark of the rebellion, was injustice that was perpetrated upon them. And so in his month-long visit in Mexico City, he worked tirelessly to talk to just about anybody he could to help them to see what was actually taking place there. He wrote letters and even finished a book about the martyred Jesuit, and those letters went off to Spain and to Rome. He was hoping as best he could to help the mission to continue, and he was successful. He rode those 1,500 miles in 7 weeks. It was remarkable what he accomplished in that time, but he was always the defender of the Acamel people, and as a result he had a lot of enemies, and many people both in the military and the civil looked down upon him, and I think that partially has kept him from being canonized now, because he was a fierce polemicist against all those that would enslave or mistreat the Acamel people. And so he was his views eventually came to be accepted, and it came to pass that he was very successful in his missionary endeavors because of the understanding and the love that he had for the people to whom he was assigned. That's the wisdom of the Jesuits for today.